Welcome back to Biology Domination Podcast, the NEET 2026 crash course built for students who want to stop hoping and start knowing. I'm your host from Hidden Wisdom Academy Biology, and this is Day 5. Today's chapter is Morphology of Flowering Plants, and I want to be upfront with you from the first minute. This chapter has quietly been one of the highest yielding chapters in the NEET biology paper for years. We're talking 4 to 5 direct questions, sometimes more. And yet, students lose these marks because they confuse a potato with a sweet potato, or they can't remember which fruit is false, or they blank on what tetradynamous means in the exam hall. By the time you finish this episode, none of that will be a problem. Let's go. Before we dive into roots and flowers, let's lock in what morphology actually means, because it's a word that trips students up. Morphology is the study of the external form and structure of an organism. We are not going into cells today. That's anatomy, and that's Day 7. Today, we describe what a flowering plant looks like from the outside, the shapes, forms, and functions of its organs, roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits, and seeds. The plant we will use most today is Brassica juncta, the mustard plant. NEET loves mustard. It appears in almost every year's paper in some form. By the end of this episode, mustard will feel like an old friend. Let's go underground. The root system. There are 2 primary types. First, the taproot system, found in dicots. Think mustard, carrot, mango. One thick primary root goes deep into the soil, with secondary and tertiary roots branching off it. Second, the fibrous root system, found in monocots. Think wheat, grass, rice. The primary root dies off early, and you get a mass of similar-looking roots, no single dominant one. Now, root modifications. This is where NEET hides its questions. Pay attention. Carrot and radish, modified taproots for food storage. You eat the root, literally. Turnip, same thing. Sweet potato, stop. This is not a modified taproot. Sweet potato is a tuberous adventitious root, an adventitious root that has swollen for storage. It develops from stem tissue, not the primary root. NEET asks this almost every year. The clue? Adventitious roots have no nodes. Keep that in mind. Banyan tree, prop roots. These are adventitious roots that grow downward from branches to the soil, providing additional mechanical support. Classic exam visual. Maize and sugarcane, stilt roots. These grow from the lower nodes of the stem and angle down into the soil, also for support. Think of them as legs propping up the plant. Rhizophora, the mangrove plant. This one's special. It grows in waterlogged, oxygen-poor soil, so its roots grow upward, out of the mud, into the air to absorb oxygen. These are called pneumatophores. They look like little pegs sticking up from the mud. Absolutely gorgeous biology, and absolutely guaranteed NEET material. Above ground and below ground, the stem gets creative. Stem modifications come in 3 categories: underground, aerial, and subaerial. Underground stem modifications. Rhizome, ginger, horizontal stem below the soil with clearly visible nodes and internodes. The nodes have scale leaves. Turmeric, lotus, and banana also have rhizomes. Corm, colocasia, also known as taro, and saffron. This is a condensed, solid, upright underground stem, no horizontal spread. Stem tuber, potato. The stem has swollen at the tips to store starch. Here's the key detail NEET tests. Potato has nodes, those little eyes you see. That is your biological proof it is a stem, not a root. Roots have no nodes, stems do. If you're ever unsure, check for nodes. Bulb, onion, garlic, tulip. A disc-like stem with fleshy scale leaves surrounding it. The papery outer layers are dried leaves. The fleshy inner layers store food. Now, aerial modifications. Tendrils. Cucumber and grapevine both have stem tendrils. But here's the trap. In cucumber, the tendril arises from an axillary bud. In grapevine, it arises from a terminal bud. The main axis gets modified. Different origin, same function. NEET has tested this distinction. Thorns. Citrus and bougainvillea have thorns arising from axillary buds. Don't confuse these with prickles, like in rose, which are just outgrowths of the epidermis with no vascular tissue. Thorns have vascular supply, prickles don't. Phyloclade, Opuntia, the cactus. The flat green padded structure you see is the stem, photosynthesizing in place of leaves. The spines you see on it, those are the reduced modified leaves. So in Opuntia, green pad equals stem equals phylloclade, spines equals leaves. Do not swap them. Subaerial modifications. Runner, dupegrass, cynodium, a slender horizontal stem creeping along the soil surface, rooting at nodes. Mint also runs like this. Stolon, strawberry, similar to a runner but arches above ground before touching soil and rooting. Offset, pistia and dicornia, the water hyacinth, short, stout, horizontal branch that roots and produces a new plant. This is how these water plants multiply so rapidly. Now leaves, the food factory of the plant. A typical leaf has three parts: the leaf base, which attaches to the stem, the petiole, which is the stalk, and the lamina, which is the broad, flat blade where photosynthesis happens. Some leaves have stipules, small leaf-like structures at the leaf base, like in pea and China rose. Simple versus compound leaf. This is a classic NEET question, and students get it wrong in the exam hall under pressure. Here is the rule. Look for the axillary bud. If there is an axillary bud at the base of the whole leaf structure, it is one leaf, whether simple or compound. A compound leaf has its lamina divided into leaflets, but there is no axillary bud at the base of each leaflet. That's how you know they are leaflets, not separate leaves. Pinnately compound, leaflets arranged on both sides of a central rachis, like in neem. Palmately compound, leaflets arise from a single point at the tip of the petiole, like in silk cotton. Venation, the arrangement of veins in the lamina. Reticulate, a network pattern. Dicots, mango, peepal, rose. Parallel, veins run parallel. Monocots, grass, wheat, banana. Phyllotaxy, how leaves are arranged on the stem. Alternate, one leaf per node, alternating sides. China rose, sunflower. Opposite, two leaves per node, opposite each other. Calotropis, guava. Whorled, three or more leaves per node in a circle. Alstonia. Leaf modifications, NEET trap territory. In pea, leaflets of a compound leaf are modified into tendrils for climbing. The leaf is partially modified. Some leaflets remain, some become tendrils. In Nepenthes, the insectivorous pitcher plant, the leaf tip forms a pitcher with a lid. Insects fall in and are digested. In cactus and opunctia, leaves are modified into spines to reduce surface area and water loss. But remember, in opunctia, the green pad is the stem, phylloclade, and the spines are the leaves. This distinction is tested every year. In onion, the fleshy scale leaves are modified leaves storing food. The flower, NEET's most beloved structure. Let's build up our knowledge of flowers systematically. A typical flower has 4 whorls, from outside to inside: calyx, the sepals; corolla, the petals; androecium, the stamens, the male reproductive organs; and gynoecium, the carpels, the female reproductive organs. Let's use mustard as our model and go through every feature. Mustard flower, bisexual, has both androecium and gynoecium. Actinomorphic, radially symmetrical. You can cut it through multiple planes and get equal halves. Hypogynous, the calyx, corolla, and androecium are attached below the ovary, meaning the ovary is superior, sits on top. Calyx, 4 sepals, free, polysepalous. Corolla, 4 petals, arranged in a cruciform or cross shape, free, polypetalous. Androecium, 6 stamens, 4 are long, 2 are short. This specific arrangement, 4 long plus 2 short, is called tetradynamous. You must know this word. Gynoecium, 2 carpels, fused together. This is called syncarpous, bicarpellary. The ovary is superior. Now let's cover key terms you'll be tested on. Estivation, the arrangement of sepals or petals in a flower bud. Valvate, margins touch but don't overlap. Calotropis, calyx, and corolla. Twisted, one margin overlaps the next, all in one direction. China rose, cotton. Imbricate, overlapping irregularly. Cassia calyx. Vexillary, one large petal overlaps 2 lateral ones, which overlap 2 innermost ones. Pea and bean corolla. This is the papulinaceous corolla. Symmetry, actinomorphic, radial, many planes. Mustard, China rose. Zygomorphic, bilateral, only one plane. Pea, bean, gulmohar. Asymmetric, no plane of symmetry. Canna, rare but tested. Ovary position, This is a heavily tested topic. Hypogynous. Other whorls arise below the ovary. Ovary equals superior. Mustard, China rose, brinjal. Perigynous. Whorls arise from the level of the ovary. Ovary equals half inferior. Plum, rose, peach. Epigynous. Other whorls appear to arise from the top of the ovary. The thalamus grows over the ovary. Ovary equals inferior. Guava, cucumber, sunflower, apple. Remember, epi means on top. The thalamus is on top of the ovary, so the ovary appears below, inferior.
Fruits. Let's sort out the confusion once and for all. A true fruit develops exclusively from the ovary after fertilization. The pericarp, the fruit wall, is derived entirely from the ovary wall. Examples: mango, tomato, grape. A false fruit, also called a pseudocarp, involves parts of the flower other than the ovary contributing to the fleshy edible structure. Apple, what you eat, that juicy, sweet, crunchy flesh, is the thalamus. The ovary is the core with seeds, so apple is a false fruit. Strawberry, same story. The fleshy red part is the thalamus. The tiny dots on the surface are the actual fruits, the achenes. Cashew, this one blows minds every year. The big, fleshy red or yellow structure you see hanging is the swollen peduncle, the flower stalk. It is a false fruit. The actual true fruit is the cashew nut hanging from the bottom of it, so what you eat as a snack is the seed inside the true fruit. The juicy part above is the false fruit. Mango pericarp, 3 layers. Epicarp, the outer skin, thin, waxy. Mesocarp, the thick, fleshy, golden, delicious middle layer. This is what you eat. Endocarp, the hard, woody stone surrounding the seed. This is why you can't bite through a mango seed easily. Seeds. Dicot seeds, bean, pea, 2 cotyledons. These seeds are exalbuminous, meaning by the time the seed is mature, the endosperm has been completely absorbed into the cotyledons. The cotyledons are thick and fleshy because they are the food store. Monocot seeds, maize, wheat, rice. 1 cotyledon, called the scutellum. These are albuminous. The endosperm persists in the mature seed. The scutellum absorbs food from the endosperm during germination. Exception, and meat loves exceptions. Castor seed is a dicot, but it is albuminous. Endosperm persists at maturity. This is a direct question almost every year. Castor, dicot, albuminous, don't forget it. Another exception. Orchid seeds have no endosperm and no cotyledons. Minimal nutrition. 3 families. If you know these cold, you walk into the exam hall with guaranteed marks. Let's go. Family 1, Fabaceae, the pea family, also called Leguminosae. Vegetative features: herbs, shrubs, or trees. Alternate compound leaves with stipules. Floral features: the flower is bisexual, zygomorphic, bilateral symmetry. The corolla is papillinaceous, shaped like a butterfly. 5 petals, 1 large posterior standard petal, 2 lateral wing petals, and 2 innermost fused keel petals. This arrangement is vexilliny aestivation. Androecium, diadelphous, 10 stamens, 9 fused into a tube, 1 free. Gynocium, monocarpellary superior ovary. Fruit, a legume or pod. Seeds, non-endospermic. Examples: pea, bean, gram, chana, soybean, groundnut, passia, mung, lentil. Note, groundnut grows its pods underground, geocarpi, but it is still a legume. Family 2, Solanaceae, the potato family. Vegetative features: mostly herbs and shrubs, alternate leaves. Floral features: bisexual, actinomorphic. Calyx has 5 fused sepals, gamosepalous, with valvate aestivation. Corolla has 5 fused petals, gamopetalous. Androecium, 5 stamens, epipetalous, meaning attached to the petals. Gynocium, bicarpellary, syncarpous, superior ovary. Fruit, a berry in tomato, or a capsule in datura and petunia. Examples: potato, tomato, brinjal, tobacco, petunia, datura, belladonna, chili. Trick: Solanaceae equals valvate calyx plus epipetalous stamens. Those 2 features together equals this family. Family 3, Liliaceae, the lily family. Vegetative features: perennial herbs with bulbs or corms as underground stems, leaves often fleshy. Floral features: bisexual, actinomorphic, trimerous, all floral parts in threes or multiples of 3. Perianth, the petals and sepals are not differentiated, so they are called tepals, 3 plus 3 tepals. Androecium, 3 plus 3 stamens. Gynocium, tricarpellary, syncarpous, superior ovary. Fruit, a capsule or berry. Examples: lily, tulip, onion, garlic, asparagus, aloe, gloriosa, colchicine. Important: colchicine is extracted from colchicine, a member of Liliaceae. Colchicine inhibits spindle formation during cell division and is used experimentally to induce polyploidy. This is tested both in morphology and in genetics.
And that is day 5 complete. Let's do a 30-second rapid recap before I let you go. Root system: taproot in dicots, fibrous in monocots. Modifications: carrot equals storage taproot, sweet potato equals adventitious root, banyan equals prop root, maize equals stilt root, Rhizophora equals pneumatophores. Stem modifications: potato equals stem tuber with nodes, ginger equals rhizome, onion equals bulb, opuntia equals phylloclade, cucumber tendril from axillary bud, grapevine tendril from terminal bud. Leaves: reticulate venation in dicots, parallel in monocots, alternate, opposite, whorled phylloxy. Pea leaflets become tendrils, nepenthes forms a pitcher, cactus leaves become spines. Flowers: mustard equals bisexual, actinomorphic, hypogynous, tetradynamous, syncarpous. Estivation: valvate, twisted, imbricate, vexillary. Ovary: hypogynous equals superior, epigynous equals inferior. Fruits: true equals mango, tomato, false equals apple, strawberry, cashew. Mango pericarp equals epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Seeds: bean equals exalbuminous dicot, maize equals albuminous monocot, castor equals albuminous dicot, exception. 3 families: Fabaceae, diadelphous stamens, legume fruit; Solanaceae, valvate calyx, epipetalous stamens; Liliaceae, trimeris, tepals, colchicine. That's your chapter, those are your marks. Tomorrow is day 6, our first revision day. We covered days 1 through 5 with active recall challenges and real trap questions from previous NEET papers. You do not want to miss it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit follow so day 6 drops straight to your feed. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and ring the bell. Drop your toughest doubt from today in the comments. I read every single one. Until tomorrow, keep studying smart, stay consistent, and keep dominating.